So I was in 8th grade when 9/11 happened. So that was the spark of like, okay, I'm doing this. You know, I was an angry 8th grade boy at seeing what was happening on the TV, obviously on 9/11. So that was like an 8th grader's reaction to that event of like, you know, it's game on, I'm gonna go fight. But when they did the 500 unit order, they did it wrong and we didn't know. Mal and I were dealing with a quality control issue on our second ever order.
For those of you that don't know, Bear here, he's from the Midwest, played football at Yale for a while, which I didn't realize until today. It's kind of cool. You know, kind of humble beginnings, grew up like Midwest, you know, joined the Navy in what year?
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Served for roughly 8 years in the SEAL teams. And, you know, while you were still in the teams, you were starting to develop your business, and then you transitioned out, and now you run Born Primitive, a pretty large, I would say, apparel chain, privately owned company. And you guys do all kinds of stuff from like active wear. You've got Born Primitive Tactical now, I've noticed. So you've got all kinds of different, like hitting all the different niches in the military veteran space, tactical space. And then you guys do a lot of philanthropy as well, heavily involved in philanthropy, which I think is great. A lot of folks in our community are doing similar things in their own way, in their own spaces. So, just for those of you that don't know, I figured that'd be kind of a good, short, sweet touch point there, just so you guys have an idea of who we're talking to today. But yeah, again, I appreciate you flying out here. I know you've been all over the country. Where'd you come from?
I was in Salt Lake. Trying to close the deal.
Close the deal, yeah.
I think we did it. Yes,
yeah, okay. Good. All right, yeah, the art of the deal.
That's right, man. Yeah, I do it a little differently.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all learning. I'm learning. Dude, I'm still learning everything now, too, myself. So where did you grow up exactly? Like, what state?
Grew up in Indiana.
Indiana,
Northwest
no kidding.
corner, town called Valpo. Yeah, just typical Midwest upbringing, man. Sports, loving America.
Yeah,
the standard list there.
Yeah. Did you play football in high school or middle school or anything?
I did. Yeah, I grew up playing football and all kinds of sports. And I was the youngest of. I had 3 brothers, so I got 2 older brothers, so I'm the youngest. So it was always hyper competitive, and you know what I mean. Like, when you're the little runt running around.
Are you bigger than your brothers? Now
I am now. Yeah, my middle brother, we're like the same size, but he's on Wall Street now, so he's gotten a little soft. So there was a transition point at some point where he didn't want to scrap anymore. But for a while there, I was taking it.
Yeah, that's funny. You know, it's funny. I've got 2 brothers, both younger. I'm the oldest, and my youngest brother is also the biggest of the 3 of us now. Kind of funny enough. I don't know if it was because we like made him tougher. I doubt it. We weren't really super hard on each other. I mean, we were hard on each other, not like, in a mean way, but just like, how brothers are, like you shit on each other all the time, just because that's just kind of part of the nature of the beast. But I wanted to say, the one thing I noticed, like you were rocking the long surfer hair for a long time, and you recently trimmed it up. It looks clean, man.
Yeah, thanks. I had to get that out of my system. Yeah, from haircuts and shaves. So I was like, all right, I gotta like do this once.
Yeah, let it hang out for a little bit.
Then I became the guy. I never thought I'd be the guy rocking a man bun because like you realize like the functionality. Like when you're going to work out, I would have never thought like I'll be the guy with a man bun. Like you almost have to. Yeah. Because otherwise, like you can't. You're doing some high intensity workout. It's literally everywhere. It's getting in your mouth. You can't breathe. So I finally was like, I'm that guy now that I would have made fun of like brutally a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's so funny. Who else? There's another guy that used to be in college. Like he was a college. I think he might have been a quarterback. I'm not sure if he went to the Vikings or what. There was like a really well-known Clemson player. You know who I'm talking about?
Is it the guy that plays
big,
for
tall,
the Jags,
blonde dude?
Plays for the Jags now, right?
Maybe he does play for the Jaguars. Yeah, I can't remember his damn name, but that's what I think about. Like, he's got really long blonde hair, and I'm like, but he's also super jacked. And I always think about it, like, what kind of adversity must he face in the like weight room? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it was funny because I almost did the reserves when I got out.
Yeah,
and it sounded really cool. They have a part of the reserves called voluntary training unit where you don't actually get paid. and you kind of pick your trips. You know what I mean? You have to do so many days a year. And it sounded really good because I was like, hey, I don't need it for the money. I don't need healthcare. Like, I just want to be kind of still a part of this and still kind of keep the axe a little sharp, even though it's still like definitely the JV team for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, a trip, you know, excuse to go with the boys for a weekend and, you know, do some house runs or get to the range or do a jump sustainment trip, whatever it was. Right. And I was like, you could pay me to do that. You know, I'll definitely do it for free.
Yeah.
But my last question was like, hey, if we're showing up like 2 or 3 times a year to train, like, do you guys enforce grooming standards? Like, if we're in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, like at a gun range, like, can I show up? And he was like, oh yeah, unfortunately, like it's like grooming standards. And he lost me there. I was like, oh, I was like, I should have just asked that first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I got like shoulder length hair right now, and I'm not cutting it anytime soon. So, you know, we get creative with the tactical slick back, but you can't slick that back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're not hiding that.
Yeah. It's tough to slick that back under a high cut or something.
Yeah. No,
It's gonna come out.
The ball cap can do a lot, as we know, as you're right on the edge of that. Hey, when's the last time you got a haircut in the hallway at wherever you're working? But yeah, that was my deal breaker. But maybe I'll revisit it. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of guys that are in like different parts of special operations that they all kind of feel very similarly about like hair length and being able to grow beards and stuff like that. Because it's like it's one of the things that people, like your average person, thinks like, okay, maybe if you're in the Green Berets or the SEALs or Delta or whatever SF Marshak, they think, okay, well, those guys are allowed to grow beards, right? Like, just always allowed to grow beards. Well, they don't realize, like, no, you guys get forced to have grooming standards too. You may be able to kind of like skirt around it if you're like in country or something like that. That's obviously a little bit different if you're in an operational environment or you're doing some like low vis stuff or whatever. But in the rear, like if you're in Virginia or if you're in California or wherever, like you have to do the same stuff everybody else is doing.
Yeah, if you're in Garrison, you're not really rolling up, you know, to work with a beard. And then I would say hair, it's a little more lax because, like, I think that's just kind of like cultural, like, got to try to have some good hair. But
good hair.
But then some guys will come in and you're like, dude, no chance. Like,
no chance.
You know, the platoon chief's like, all right,
go get a haircut.
Like, I love it, but there's no way. Like, if you know,
if the CG walks in right now,
if the command master chief like sees you in the troop space, like you know, then it's his ass on the line. So that's definitely a thing. But we like to push it for sure.
Yeah, push the envelope. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, and you kind of. I mean, I feel like a lot of you guys earned it, you know, because like you went through like some of the most painful, arduous, painstaking training to get to a point where you are qualified to wear the trident, you know what I mean, or whatever your emblem is, you know, get to the teams, whatever. And so it's like, you know, give him a little like extra, give him a whatever, give him a little space to stretch out, you know what I mean?
That's right.
But so. You grew up in Indiana. You played football. When did you apply to college? Did you go to college straight out of high school, or?
Yeah, I went straight out. That's when I started looking at the military. Like because I wanted to join the Navy out of high school.
Okay.
So I was in 8th grade when 9/11 happened. So like, that was the spark of like, okay, I'm doing this. You know, I was angry 8th grade boy at seeing what was happening on the TV, obviously on 9/11. So that was like an eighth grader's reaction to that event of like, you know, it's game on. I'm going to go fight, you know,
especially an American from the Midwest,
exactly,
you know, probably patriotic,
100%. Right. So that planted that seed. And then, you know, that because I don't know if they still do this, but like the Navy, you know, the recruiters would come to your lunch and they'd set up a little booth with a little keychain. Like the Marines would come, you know what I mean? So I would be the dork, like talking to them at lunch, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, and you know, you're getting the BS from the recruiter who's like just lying to you about everything. You know?
they're feeding you whatever the recruiters are supposed to feed you.
So I was going to do that. And then, but football was starting to take off and I had good grades and my parents were like, hey, why don't you can go to an Ivy League school, get a great education. And if you still want to do this crazy SEAL thing, like you can always do it when you graduate. Yeah. And since I got to like continue playing football, I was like, all right, that's a fair deal. Like, I don't think I would have just gone to college because I wanted to get after it. But like football, I still love the sport. So I was like, all right, well, if I can go play college ball, like that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So did that. And then, you know, graduated there. And then, I had to fix my shoulder, get a surgery on that. So I took a job with Red Bull and worked with them for a while, did marketing, which was awesome. I learned about brand marketing and all kinds of, I mean, they do it the best, better than anyone. And then eventually after some family pressure, I kind of gave up the SEAL thing for a minute, and I hung it up, but I couldn't kick it like internally. I was married at the time, actually to Mallory, who co-founded Born Primitive with me, so we still run it together.
Oh wow,
have a great relationship. She's remarried, has a couple of beautiful kids, and so as good of a eventual divorce as you can get. As a lot of guys in our line of work don't do great with that, but so we founded it together, and
when did you found it?
It's 3 months before I joined the Navy.
No kidding. So before you joined.
Horrible timing.
Oh, wow.
And I actually, because I was always a serial entrepreneur. Like I had a lawn mowing business growing up and a landscaping business, and I was always hustling something.
Yeah.
And I actually had a business right before Born Primitive that ended up not working out. I raised a bunch of capital. We got a patent on something and went down the whole road to try it. I got leased a building and leased a bunch of equipment and it ended up not panning out like we thought it would.
Oh man.
So I guess I was dumb enough to not know any better, just turn around and started Born Primitive.
Right out the gate.
And I had a ship date. I was shipping in June and this was in March of 2014. And
did you have a SEAL contract?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it was started just as a pair of compression shorts, because I was a big CrossFitter at the time. I had competed at the CrossFit Games, and I developed a pair of compression shorts that it's not innovative at all. But I took an old football girdle and cut out the quad pad, and I stitched it into the groin area, because when I was doing the snatch lift, with the wide grip, I was drilling my pubic bone. I was bruising it real bad because we were training a heavy volume, so we were doing that movement 2 or 3 days a week and doing it to heavy percentages.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to create one of one for me, just like Jimmy rigged basically a pair of compression shorts.
Yeah.
So I went over to my neighbor's house. She was a seamstress. Me and her husband Arnie drank a gin and tonic. She broke out the sewing machine and she stitched the first prototype. So I wore that to the gym, and I was being silly, so I took my shorts off. So I was just basically snatching almost naked,
Yeah.
And so it's because we had a good little crew there, and the guys were like, "Dude, you should make those." And I was like, no one's gonna buy this. And they're like, "No, people in the Olympic lifting community would buy that." So
wow,
I did some research. I read a bunch of Olympic lifting forums. And I realized a lot of high level competitors actually had that problem. I just figured my technique was trash, or my torso to limb ratio was weird. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was an Olympian who fractured his pubic bone in competition. I was like, all right, well, if there's Olympians doing this, maybe and guys were putting neoprene knee sleeves down their singlets, or one guy would put a scrap of carpet down there to as a pad. And I was like, okay, this is actually kind of a thing.
A scrap of carpet?
Yeah, a little piece of carpet he'd put down there,
just to protect his pubic bone.
Yes, in his singlet, and then he'd approach the platform and hit the lift.
Wow.
So I was like, all right. So, and I knew nothing about product development. So I read a bunch of books on supply chain and this and that. And long story short, ended up getting 200 units made. And that was our first order, and then I went to OCS right after that.
Jesus.
And that was the beginning. It was meant to just be a product, not a business.
That's wild. So you started this whole thing before you even joined.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I thought you were starting it towards the latter part of your years in.
Yeah. So then at OCS, I had a buddy there ahead of me, another spec war candidate, and he said, "Hey, if you want your phone, try to be the class leader, because those are the class leader, and then the second in charge. I don't even remember what we called it, the vice president or something.
Yeah.
You're the only two people in the whole class to get your phone during boot camp."
Oh wow!
So in the first day, they're like, "Who wants to be class leader?" You get to give a 1 minute speech to the whole group of people you just met 20 seconds
who
ago.
don't know you at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't.
So I raised my hand because I was like, I need my phone because I need to be able to do business. Yes. So I'm sure you can relate to this,
dude,
right? So I stood up, gave my 1 minute spiel for whatever reason. The class voted for me, so I got my phone.
Did you feel like that was a good speech?
I have no idea what I said. Yeah, but yeah,
I can't remember what
killed it. Yeah,
knocked it out of the park.
Standing ovation in our glow belts and Nalgene's.
Oh man,
and stupid hair, I guess shaved heads. But
where was boot camp? Was it Michigan still?
No, so for Navy OCS, it's in Newport, Rhode Island.
Newport, Rhode Island,
yeah, which is actually an awesome place.
Okay,
kind of ironic, you're on this island and there's all these people out having a good time in town, and you're in hell.
Yeah,
but, yeah, you know how that goes.
It's two different worlds.
Yeah, well, there's literally a bridge that goes across, so you're just it's almost I just need, if I could just run across this bridge, I could escape.
Do people ever try to escape?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, it's
people they crack and they run away.
Yeah. But so that was kind of cool because then every night I would get on email and I would interact with Mallory, my wife, and we would talk business, and I'd be emailing suppliers, and my roommate's there shining his boots and getting all this stuff prepped, and I'm like more worried about it was like supplier emails and like the website. And I remember we had our first product recall because after we sold the first 200 units, we doubled down and ordered 500. But when they did the 500 unit order, they did it wrong, and we didn't know. Mal and I were dealing with a quality control issue on our second ever order, and I'm at OCS, getting 4 hours of sleep, you're doing all the
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was.
I can't imagine being at OCS having to deal with that.
And it's like you look back and you're like, man, how did I do that? But you realize at the time, you're much younger. Yeah. Your gas tank is full. You know what I mean? And you're like almost dumb enough to not know any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now I'm looking back, I'm like, man, that sounds super stressful.
That sounds awful. That sounds awful, man.
You got to get all your stuff prepped and shine your boots and this. And I'm like, trying to figure out how we're going to, reach out to 500 customers to let them know, hey, the shorts you just ordered might not work.
Yeah.
Because what was happening is like when people would put it in the dryer, the pad would like start to fall off, like because the adhesive.